Yo, what's up, dogs? I am back once again with another movie review. And today we are going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the silly about a little film called Good Fortune. And yes, I know I am very late with this one, but that's okay. It's better late than never. Movie reviews. So here we go. Let's get started right with the good. Now, I'm torn with this movie's story because a part of it is good. There's really good things in this movie that I like story wise. Then there's some bad things in this movie story wise, and it kind of gives and takes. There's definitely something to take away from this movie, but I feel like it wasn't enough. You know, you know what I'm saying? Like the story is very simple, and I like it because you have this angel Gabriel, who's played by Keanu Reeves, who is trying to save Arj, who's played by Aziz Ansari, and he's trying to save him by showing him a good life, right? And by showing him what a good life it is to Arj, is he wants to be a millionaire like this business mogul, Jeff. And Jeff and Arj have had these interactions together, which are funny as well. And he wants to be like Jeff. So what Gabriel does, and he shouldn't do this, is he actually swaps the lives between Jeff and Arj. And now Arj gets to be Jeff for a week, and Jeff gets to be Arj for a week. And then once the week is over, Arj should understand that that money doesn't solve all of his problems. But as the trailer even shows you, Arj is like, yes, money definitely solved all my problems. And now this becomes a problem for Gabrielle because Gabrielle isn't actually supposed to be messing with the lives of humans. And so trials and tribulations happen to Gabrielle, Arj, Jeff, and a little bit with Elena, who's played by Kiki Palmer, as well. And the moral of the story and stuff is kind of like it's good and bad because there's a part of me where I'm like, this seems um, too easy. I don't know. Maybe it's because I've been the blue collar worker, who's been on the welfare and trying to scrounge every coin together and trying to make ends meet. But maybe it is. Maybe the moral of the story is also right at the same time. Like, don't give up. Yeah. Okay. I got to think about it a little bit. Anyways, the other parts of the good. I really liked Keanu Reeves in this movie as Gabrielle. I thought he was genuinely funny on screen. Like he was just a joy to watch because you get to see him as this angel who has tiny wings, which is hilarious. And he watches over people who text and drive. That's his whole job, is to save people from texting and driving. And he's really good at it, but he's also bored at it. He wants to be more than just this little angel. He wants to have the bigger wings. You know what I'm saying? And that's I think the whole one of the I don't want to say morals of the story, but it's one of the driving forces in the narrative is materialism, right? And how materialism doesn't necessarily mean good things, right? Because even on Gabrielle's level, he wants bigger wings, right? So he's tired of having these small wings. He wants bigger wings because bigger means better to him, right? And it's the same thing with Arj, who is this downtrodden guy who's living penny to penny. He lives in his car, showers at the YMCA, works multiple jobs, and to him that this life sucks. But when he sees Jeff's life, he's like, oh my god, look at all this materialistic stuff. So materialism is like one of the driving narratives throughout this movie of materialism slash capitalism is good, right? It will solve your problems, so to speak, but it really doesn't. um it doesn't. More money, more problems, aka Biggie. Come on, everyone, listen here. So Keanu Reeves has a couple of things going on with his character, right? Because there's a point in the movie where he loses his wings, and now we get him as a fish out of water, where he's a human, and he's hilarious because he's learning what it's like to be a blue collar worker, right? Like he's seeing the trials and tribulations of what it's like to be a human in 2025, where all you do is what work, right? Sleep, work, maybe a little bit of enjoyment if you have the time, but it's pretty much your whole life revolves around work. And some people have more than one jobs that they have to work, and like Gabriel's learning that, and his life is stressful, and he's stressing out because he can't even make ends meet, in this economy and stuff like that. And like, there's a great scene where I think it's him and Jeff are talking outside of the restaurant because Gabriel becomes a dishwasher at a Mexican restaurant, and he's just having a cigarette. And Jeff, I think, is like, "Why are you smoking right now? You shouldn't be doing that." And he's just Gabriel's just like, "Shut up, man! It's all I got." Damn it! It was such a good scene. I was laughing. Like, yeah, we've all been there, dude. I remember like hanging out at Pizza Hut at the end of a dishwashing, just sitting in the. I don't smoke, and then I'm just sitting in the back with my friend who was the manager. He's having a cigarette while we're putting the garbage away. It's just like, man, fuck, So, yeah, there's a lot of good scenes with him in it, and he really like drives the movie. I think he's good. Okay, so but just yeah, you'll understand when you watch it. So there's Sandra Oh as Martha, who's always good. She has such small scenes in this movie, but she's the leader of the Council of Angels, and she also is the one who like strips Gabrielle of his powers and stuff like that. And it's kind of like, you need to go learn a lesson kind of thing. And then like, he learns his lesson, and he's fine with having small wings and stuff like that. We also have Elena, who's played by Kiki Palmer, and Kiki Palmer's character is kind of like this all-in-one kind of character. She's multiple things, right? She's a love interest to Arj, and she's also kind of like a guiding light, and also like someone who provides a little bit of wisdom to life. And she wants to start a union because she wants things to be better, not just for herself but for everyone around her. She's not a greedy person, and she doesn't look like materialism isn't that important to her. She understands like that capitalism exists, but because of it, she wants those things around her to be easier. And that's where she looks at the union life of like, if you're in the union, maybe you'll get benefits, you'll get guaranteed hours, you'll get pay raises. These corporations can't afford it. Like, they can have us as a unionized workers and protect us and have these things. And she's really out there to try and protect everyone, not just herself. And she tries to put that message out there to Arj and others around her, right? And so she's a very important character, and I liked her. And it's Kiki Palmer. I'm always going to like her. And then we have Seth Rogen here as Jeff, who is the arrogant dick business mogul who honestly looks at everybody as insignificant ants in his world unless they are on the same monetary level of him or better. That's where your value is in his world. But if you are below him, he doesn't really care about you, and he treats everybody like that. Like, his assistants mean nothing to him. He'll delete them at a whim, and that is what happens with Arj in part of the catalyst of the story is between Jeff and Arj, where Jeff hires Arj to be an assistant. Arj does screw up, he does, and he charges a meal on the business credit card, but Arj is sympathetic and apologetic about the situation he was put himself into. But Jeff is like, I don't care, you can't do that, I don't trust you anymore, and literally deletes him. You are fired, right? And that really starts the story of like, screw this guy, I want to be better. Like, I want to be him. And that's where Gabrielle's like, okay, I'll show you the better life, and you could be Jeff. And Jeff has to be Arj. And now this is where the movie really, 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 really becomes the Christmas Carol. Right? Because once you go through it, and everyone, there's like four different stories going on here, but they're all realistically the same story, right? Everyone has to learn something from here. So like, Gabrielle's learning about the trials and tribulations of being a human, small wings versus big wings, all the more money, more problems, right? Just for Gabrielle. Same thing with Arj, more money, more problems. But it's also, his thing is, the weirder of the story because he has to eventually switch back with Jeff, but the only way he can switch back with Jeff is if he wants to do it himself. So his whole thing is like, I love my life right now, but because of the life that Elaine lives, he is like he's kind of blinded by the success and doesn't understand like the more money he has doesn't mean he's that successful in the other areas of life, which is like relationships and stuff like that, and being truthful and all these other elements. Like money doesn't mean everything, you know what I'm saying? And that's what he's got to learn, that it's the people around him that make life worth living, not just the money side of things. And if you live a good life, eventually good fortunes will be bestowed upon you as well. It might not be in the shape and form of monetary, but it will be potentially the people around you who will love you more, want to be with you more, and oh, we got a little something going on outside. Where was it? We had a little too much noise outside there. But that's his storyline. And now Jeff has to understand the world of people who have to work, the blue collar world, right? And learn that these are real people too. They deserve his attention, and also their respect. His respect has to be shown to them, and he has to learn that lesson, because even though he's at the top of the monetary side of things, the world around him and the life around him is not that good. It's actually very corrupt. It's very evil, and there's no love in there. And he has to learn that from the bottoms, unnecessarily. And but like he has no love interest or anything like that. It's just him himself needs to learn that there's more to life than just the money, right? There's a way to be good to people, and that's where again this movie has a very Christmas story, Christmas Carol type of vibe to it, because once everyone gets their stuff flipped back together, there's like literally the end scene. One of the end scenes is when Jeff's like, "Okay, everyone in my business mogul, we have to change everything." Like it's just like how Scrooge reacted, right? And same with Arj. Arj is like, "Oh, I'm not, I'm gonna become a documentary director. I'm gonna make a documentary about the gig economy and shine a light on that, and that's how I'm gonna make my path known, right? And like go onwards." And even Arj's dad, like, I don't think I mentioned it, but there's like a little nugget of Arj's dad who also pushes the materialistic narrative. He even gets retribution by being honest to his father, saying, "Dad, you know what? My life sucks. I live in a car. I'm not doing what I said I was going to set out to do. I've been lying to you because I always thought you felt like I would be a loser if I wasn't being successful." So there's a lot of layers in here, and those are all good things. In general, what else was there that was good? That's about it. Because this is a very story driven movie, right? Like it's very character driven. It's very straightforward. So it's very straightforward. I thought the story was pretty good. Now the bad. So after I was thinking about this one here, we'll get to this part because I might be a little wrong with what I wrote here. So Aziz Ansari as Arj, can't I just can't with him. I don't think he's a good actor, and his voice is moderately annoying at times. And at times, he takes me out of some of the important scenes that he's in. And I feel like he really isn't that good of an actor. And you can feel it on the screen when he's interacting with some more higher caliber actors. You're like, oh, yeah, okay, this isn't really working. It's not really connecting for me. However, when he's in comedy mode with Seth Rogen, that's more of his element, and I'm kind of like, okay, I'm on board with this. It's very good, bouncy, sing-songy, coming back and forth with the quips and stuff like that. Like there is a good energy there on the comedic side, but on the dramatic side, I kind of really feel like it's just not him. You know what I'm saying? So there's part of me where I'm like, could we have done this with a different actor? Maybe in a fresh face, so to speak, someone that could actually do the heavy lifting of the dramatic acting scenes as well as doing the comedic element. Like maybe we could have done this with like Dave Franco or someone, something like that. I don't know. Just throwing it out there. I'm just throwing it out there. But and Aziz Ansari is the bad in this movie, unfortunately. I do think there were some really bad editing choices in this movie. There's a couple scenes where it just felt like they really held on the scene too long. Like you could have seen where you're like, why are we still here? You know what I'm saying? It's like they could have cut it earlier. I feel like some of the editing choices between the dialogue sequences are also kind of weirdly shot and just feels weird. Also, some of the dialogue itself was a little like, what? Oh, no one talks like this. It's weird. Um, that yeah, but those didn't really like take me out. It was just like really noticeable, and I was like, "That's weird. Why are we still lingering on these shots here?" You know what I'm saying? And then I'm sitting here. I put this in the bad because what is the point of this movie, right? Because um, oh yeah, I forgot to write the other thing down here for the bad. Okay, so for I was trying to think when I was writing this up, I'm like, what is the point of this movie? And then as I was talking about it and discussing the good sections of it, I do think like one of the morals of the story, which I did right here, is don't give up, life is good. And I think you learn that specifically through Arj's character the most because he has these trials and tribulations and I might even be wrong with this. Like obviously, don't give up. Life is good. It's definitely a good moral to the story, but I do think I'm thinking like as each character has their own thing, which I've already explained. Hmm. Yeah, I think I'm right. Because this movie does, the movie might be a little too busy for people because there is genuinely four stories going on in this movie that all kind of gets tied up at the end, right? Because you have Gabrielle's storyline, you have Jeff's storyline, Arja's storyline, Elena's storyline, and they all interweave with each other, but they're all learning different morals and they're like or their own moral story arcs and what they're going to learn. So it might be a little too busy for people, maybe. But I do think at the end of the day, the whole moral of the whole story is like more money, more problems. Money doesn't solve everything. Don't give up. Life is good, and have a good group of people around you, man. Community is good. A strong community is a powerful community. You know what I'm saying? And then the other thing in here, the bad that I forgot to write was the section about the union. Okay, now I could go on forever about unions, but I don't think the negative like there's a scene because like Elena's character is trying to start a union at the hardware factory or store, and I'm a union worker, okay? I'm a union guy. I'm in a union. And there's the one character says to her that oh, what was it that he said? Oh, the union sucks. They just take your money. That's all they want. They want to take $50 off your paycheck, and that's $50 less for you. And they don't do anything. And that kind of sways all the votes. And I was like sitting there, I'm like, you know what? I'm in the union. I pay my union dues, but you know what cool things I get with the union? I get a 9 to 5 job. You know what I'm saying? Like I get 40 hours a week no matter what. I get money. I get raises. I get a livable wage to an extent. I would say I wouldn't say I'm the Rockefeller or anything like that, but I'm a livable wage. I get benefits. I get vacations. I get sick days. Like there's things to it where I'm like that guy doesn't understand the power of the union. Okay, but that's just me. Oh man. Anyways, let's go to the silly because I have one thing that's silly in here. I think I just had a bad idea that came into my mind, and now it's gone. Because there was one thing I totally forgot. Oh yeah, you know what? You know what? This is one bad thing, and it has to actually do with Keanu Reeves as Gabrielle, okay, or Gabriel. There's times in this movie where Gabrielle comes across a little too kiddie. Specifically when he becomes a human, and he really has more kiddie talk and he starts talking about dino nuggies and for something about it I don't like. The dude's almost 70 or whatever, right? Like he's 60, and hearing him say dino nuggies as an adult is just kind of off-putting, and hearing him kind of speak in this kiddish language, and I'm like, this is an angel. I don't know, it took me out a couple times where I'm just like, shut up, say dino nuggets properly. Like, it kind of annoyed me, but that's just me. Anyways, let's go to the silly, because the only silly thing I have in here, and it's really just a missed opportunity, I really wish they cast John Travolta and brought back Michael. Because if you remember the movie Michael, I wish they brought him back just to show up in the Council of Angels and just have him there. He doesn't have to do much. He could just be smoking, sitting on the wall, looking like he does, and they introduce him as Michael just like they do all the other angels. And it would have been just a nice little scene. Like, pay him. Like, if you have to pay him 20 grand or whatever it takes to have him just show up as a little cameo, that's for us old heads. I would have loved it. Anyways, that's all I got. Let's go to the conclusion. So, yeah, it's a little late now, so you probably can't see it in theaters anymore. But I do think you should, if you find it a little interesting, like this from listening to me talk to you about it, I would say catch it on streaming. You might like it. You might also hate it. It might be incredibly boring. It might be incredibly dumb and incredibly a waste of your time. But I did not hate the movie. I didn't. I thought it was okay. It was okay. You know what I'm saying? But I could totally understand never paying any money to go and see this movie, even on a cheap night. You know what I'm saying? So if it shows up on your streamer, I say give it a chance or not at all. Because I totally understand. This is a movie that's really 50-50. You're either in the mood, like I could really see like you either like Aziz Ansari and you're going to give it a watch, or if you don't like him, I totally understand. You're like, I'm not going to watch this, and that's probably the same for like Seth Rogen too, right? You like him or you don't. You're either going to watch it or you don't, and that's kind of what I'm saying here. Stream it or not. But if you want to watch something else, here's two suggestions for you. Watch Michael, starring John Travolta, and or watch Trading Places, starring Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy. Okay, just some old school films to throw out there. Will I put this in my movie collection? No. Will I ever watch this movie again? Probably never again. Even though I thought it was an okay movie, I'll probably never watch this again. Yeah, it's a one and done for me, my friends. Anyways, that is it for me. That is the end of the review. You guys have a good day. Peace out, everybody. Bye.